Yes, sir. Watch this. Take cover.
Oh.
Watch this.
Hey, what is up, guys? It's Sergeant Slack here from Banana Bomb Productions. I thought I'd put another little video out there on the interworld. This one is a Let's Run a Dungeon series. I thought, seeing as though I'm leveling a tank, I could show you guys the ins and outs of instancing. Now, one major thing here, just communication. Talking to people, making sure the healer's ready before you run in there and pull up half the distance is all good. So, leveling has changed a lot since the days of vanilla, and nowadays you're required much more by your groups to do massive pulls, and as a tank to hold down the aggro throughout all of this so that everyone doesn't die, basically. That's your job. In case you don't know much about Warcraft or 5-man dungeons, I'll hopefully get a chance as we're going through here to explain a few little bits, if it's not too manic. And of course, last 3 times I've done a dungeon, it's been one that I know fairly well, and this one, which I haven't been to in a while, kind of since the last time I leveled. So we're here in Manor Tombs, which was released at the onset of Wrath. And yeah, it gives you Consortium Rep, this particular one. I see right now there, not doing my job. We've got someone on the healer. I have to say, aggro's not been too bad for me thus far. Now you've got to watch as well that you don't end up with someone in your group pulling who's not the tank. And this is a big pet hate of tanks, because you're there trying to set up a pull, trying to keep the damage going, and make the dungeon go quickly and easily as possible. And you've got a bloody lock or a hunter or someone who's going round pulling up lots of things that you're not ready for, and you end up losing aggro. And of course everyone shouts. I mean, look here, see, I'm in the middle of a pull trying to get these guys in, and everyone's already started wailing in on the DPS, and it throws the aggro table right off. It makes it really hard to do, because of course the DPS pull the enemies off onto them, take aggro away from me being the tank, and then the healer pulls the aggro off him, off the DPS, and you end up looking like a rubbish tank, because people are just attacking before you. I don't know what you're going to say, which is, oh, just tell people that's all you need to do. Well, I've given up on that. I've spent ages telling people not to attack, let me finish, and people just don't get it. I don't know whether they just don't care or what, but they don't get it. They certainly don't do it. So that's the first boss, Pandemonia. It's pretty much tank and spank nowadays. Move on. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky. You've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of person pulls. Now in the olden days you'd have to go and grab one of these and do a line of sight pull and all that kind of tasty stuff. Nowadays you don't need to do that really. You can just jump in there, pull up everything. Let's see if they have any DPS with me. Well, they'll join the fight when they're ready. You know what DPS are like. I'm going to have all the DPS in our guild after me now. Yeah, this isn't a guild run, by the way. This is just random. Since you brought in cross-server in the last patch, it's changed instancing a lot, and I have to say it's not all bad. Ninjaring's a bit more of a problem because you can't just denounce people in trade like you used to when they came in and ninjaed all your gear. There's nothing more frustrating than running an instance time and time again as a specific class to get specific gear, and then someone who's not doing that role, like if you got tank gear and then someone who's not doing tank comes in, steals everything. That's never good. Now we've got a bit of a problem here because we've got a load of healers and not going down as easily as they could. But they're still going down. That's good. Now you want to watch out in this chamber because I think it's these Nexus Terrors. They're quite hard to kill and they fear like a bastard. So hopefully I'll actually manage to get him over here where we can neutralise the fear effects. Again, fear's not too bad nowadays because if you pull up an extra like 4 groups, it doesn't really tend to make much of a difference. Whereas in the olden days, I mean in vanilla, you couldn't even use AoE, otherwise everyone would decry you as a noob and you'd wipe the group. Thankfully things have got a little bit better since then. And you can still wipe the group and get decried as a noob, but people are just a bit nicer about it. Okay, so I seem to be remembering this interrupt. I seem to remember this instance fairly well. I think I did do it quite a lot at the end of Wrath. And so most of it's still in there. And most of the pulls have got a lot easier. The thing to do when you've got healers, always take down the healers first. This is true in PvE and PvP. Get them down, get them silenced, do whatever you can to stop them from getting any heals off, because obviously if it's a DPS race between you and them, you want to win, and healers kind of add to their end of the bargain. And they can get more damage out because their guys are up for longer, basically. Now, the more eagle-eyed among you may have spotted that I have in fact ventured out into the world of macros. What I've got, I'll just show you here very quickly. Oh no, I won't. Well, here, you can see on the macro screen, if I go to... Oh, crap. There's the fear, and there's the trinket, but not in enough time. But no bother, I can pick up these guys, I think. And soon be back on top of the aggro table. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, my macro, that's what I was talking about. Before that Nexus Terror came and rudely feared everyone. Basically, I've got a macro here, and all it does is it's replaced cleave. And all it does is it does cleave, and it does thunderclap. And I've called it Whiz Cleave. Because, you know, basically now, run in, drop rend. When you've got enough mana, you hit cleave, which does you 2 or more targets if you've got a glyph, which you should have a glyph, really. It's one of the big ones. And then, if you're a little bit lax at popping thunderclap, then every now and again when you've got a mana and the cooldowns, not mana, when you've got the rage and the cooldowns up, you can just pop cleave, and if you've got the rage for it and it's off cooldown, then you'll pop thunderclap as well, which is really handy for DPS and keeping threat and large groups of mobs. Okay, so we're going pretty well. Got another one of these Nexus Terrors. I better get on it quick, because otherwise if I start fanning around showing you my macros again, then my group will be in there. And before you know it, all hell will have broken loose. Incidentally, I get a lot of crap when I'm tanking, with people inspect your gear to see whether they think you're going to be any good based on that, which can be good. You know, if you've got the wrong gear, then you're probably not going to be that good a tank. But I get a lot of crap for sporting. I'll just pop it up and show you here. Inherited Insignia of the Horde, one of the new heirloom items. See, there we go. I was looking at the boss thinking we can take him now, and he'd have got no mana left. So, a little bit of a mana break. Yeah, I got a lot of crap for sporting Inherited Insignia of the Horde, and people are like, oh, why are you doing that? It's a PvP item. It's no use in PvE. Well, I think you'll find with things like the Nexus Terrors that use fears and can very easily wipe a group if you're not paying attention. Look at it, his healer's pretty good. What is he? He's a goblin shaman called Cogwheel from Azure Mist. And yeah, he's doing a pretty good. He's doing a pretty good job of keeping us all alive, which is what you want out of a healer, really. And yeah, so Inherited Insignia of the Horde, although it is chiefly a PvP item, it can have its uses in PvE, especially in these like Stratholme and things like that. You've got a lot of things that can do fears and just wipe a group. Thankfully, at the kind of the end of an expansion like this, most people are leveling alts. You still get a few people on their first characters. It's always good fun to give them a bit of a hand and explain how things go if they've not quite got the hang of it yet. But most people are on like their second, third, fourth characters, what have you. So they know what the score is. See, how to not be a good DPS. You use your bloody Death Knight, get over here thing, and you pull mobs off the tank. And then, once they're pulled off the tank, of course, there's fuck all you can do about it, unless you can run over there. I mean, generally not handy. A good rule of thumb is target the tank as he charges in, or whatever he does, if it's a Death Knight or what have you. Target the tank and then use target of target to work out who he's hitting, and then you should be pretty safe to wail on him without causing too much grief. Now these Nexus Terrors, they used to be such a problem because they're pretty epic damage-wise. Oh, I forgot I don't have one with top-level warrior cooldowns yet. I was like, recharge! But no, I can't. Oh, here we go, someone's pulled. So, best thing to do, if you've not already got one on, get a rend on. And then get a thunderclap down to spread your rend around. Get you back on the top of the aggro table. And you should be able to pick up most things fairly quickly. There's always going to be the odd one. As a rule of thumb, you can generally ignore if the DPS has pulled one mob off to the side. And they're... I'm going to have to tell them about that. It's so fucking annoying. Yeah, general rule of thumb, if you pull like 8 new ads and there's one on the DPS, then you don't really need to do anything about it. If it's on the healer and the DPS aren't taking care of it, then yeah, line of sight pull. One of my favourite things, saying that people are on like their second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever characters. Not a lot of people understand the line of sight pull. Yeah, PvP drinking. That's good. Screw it, let's bring everyone. Let's see what happens. Healer's pretty good, so as everyone gets feared, it's only going to make life more difficult for me. Pick up the new ads, get a bit of damage in on them. anything you can. You see him managing to lose a couple of them over there. Has he actually died, or? Ooh. Oh no, they do take damage. See, there we go. We've got a competent group, and taking on a Nexus Terror and the entire room is no problem whatsoever. Now, a good one about starting, if you've got a couple of ones, because you get with Pummel, you get a silence in, which is really handy for especially healers, but for any spellcasters. If you get a heal off, it helps to get people down. If you manage to interrupt a heal, sorry. It helps to get the opposition down. Zeus from Talnivar, you suck, man. As a general rule of thumb in World of Warcraft, you pull it, you tank it. So I'm going to let him do that, and this healer can shout at him. Oh, now this room, the Hall of Twilight, I remember this used to be a pain. So you've got the Nexus Terrors, and back in the day in Wrath, you could only really do like 2 or 3 of these things at once. I mean, the gear was just not up to it, really. Now, of course, they've just made this whole section for BC through Wrath right up to Cataclysm. Nice. Nice and easier, shall we say. Because it's really good English. See, now that time, that's the first time that Zeus has actually pulled the right thing. Usually he's pulling things that I don't want him to. Thunderclap down before we run. Right, so this is the final chamber in Manor Tombs. It's got to clear out, get down to the other end. Oh, is it? Yeah, we've got acting. It's probably the final chamber. The voice acting's always really comedy in Warcraft, especially because I think they only have like one guy that does it. Yeah. If you've got a group, as I was saying before about Pummel having a silence, if you get it right. Oh dear. Oh no, I got Berserk Rage. Yeah. Oh, I pulled everything. You've also got another one, Heroic Throw here. Actually, I don't know if it's glyphed. Yeah, you can glyph this so that it also does a silence. So if you've got 2 groups, what's everyone up to? If you've got two casters in a group, sorry, especially 2 healers, what I like to do, select one, Heroic Throw, which puts a silence on, charge into the other one, and then you can pummel him when they're halfway through, and that also does a silence. 4-second silence. I have longed for a good adventure. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll provide much sport. Because nowadays he's just going down, really. You could probably do this with, well, you'd be hard pushed. Yep, that was the last boss. You'd be hard pushed to do this. Ooh, Dark Moon items. You'd be hard pushed to do this. What with, yeah, so you managed to get them both silenced. That's always good. You'd be hard pushed to do this with just healer and tank, but I think it would be possible, but ideally you want 3 people. So, this is Sergeant Slack from Banana Bomb Productions saying, thanks guys for watching this dungeon run. I hope it wasn't too meandering. It is kind of difficult to concentrate on everything at once. See you next time.